Link coin is entering into overbought zones and we are getting for a potential short position. Good morning traders, welcome back to the channel and we are back with another technical analysis, this time Chainlink, Link coin, so straight to the point. We have been monitoring this coin for the last 2 weeks and we were getting ready for a potential breakdown, meaning near this zone, nice rejection and a movement to the lower side, but eventually it broke out, meaning we got stopped out. It was like 5% of market price movement and trade was cancelled. But as of now, we have broken this major like resistance zone. You can see bounce from here, 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 and here as well. Eventually, of course, breakout. And now zooming in, we see that we are basically just pushing further into the overbought zones on this Bollinger Band path. So while we broke out, let me remove this one. You can see that we entered in the overbought zone on a daily time frame. The next candle was also further push, then small correction movement, although we still stayed outside in the overbought zones. And now we're just straight pushing and pushing on pure enthusiasm of the traders, potentially going towards this zone of, let me go on a weekly time frame, this zone here, which is basically the next major resistance zone for the Link coin. But before we move even to like these zones there, we need to bear in mind that first of all, we are way too expand on the Bollinger Bands and also the RSI. So let me zoom this one in and this Bollinger Bands percentage size. You can see that we are basically, even on the weekly time frame, we are pushing to this like overbought zone and RSI is already in the overbought zone. So let me zoom this one more in. You can see this small zone here. So the yellow line has officially entered into the overbought zones. And while we have been entering into this overbought zone, we also been testing. So we were outside in overbought zone massively. We went for like breakdown, broken this like middle line of RSI as you call it. Now we've been testing it, the test failed and now it's going for another breakout attempt, meaning of course this moment here. But what's interesting actually is, despite the fact that the peak of the RSI was basically here, which is the resistance line for us, so let's go on a daily time frame, and the peak on the weekly RSI was basically this zone here, which is of course marked as the resistance of Bollinger Bands for now, which is currently broken. So with that being said, we are actually getting ready for a potential reversal or movement to the lower sides. So to back our theory, let me demonstrate to you what we want to see. So despite the fact that we are currently pushing, we want to see eventually a retest of this broken zone, meaning a nice movement to this side here. And once we see a movement to this side here, so it might not happen like so quickly, we might see some kind of like sideways movement, slight like upside movement, and then movement to the lower side here, or even some kind of movement like this, so sharp movement and then a bounce. But nevertheless, we want to see a movement to the lower side, meaning this zone here, and the test. Now, once we reach this zone here, from here on, we will see if we go for like further movement to upper zones, meaning like this line here, or we will go for like smaller correction movement, like decent one, not like this sideways movement here, which we have been going for like past, I don't know, what was it, like a couple of months basically. So the game plan for us is pretty simple actually. We are just monitoring right now. Once we see any kind of weakness and a movement to the lower side here, we might, like, let's say the candle like closes, let's say somewhere here, and it starts the movement to the lower sides, then we might open a short position somewhere near here, with the stop loss being like, depends on the Bollinger Bands. So as you know, we like to set the stop losses just where the Bollinger Bands is. So let's say the stop loss would be somewhere here. Now, once we see a movement to the lower side on a short scale, this would be our target zone. So retest to this zone here. And from here on starts like this major game plan. If we see any kind of breakdown, meaning of course breakdown and retest, this would be a potential good entry for a short position, meaning movement to lower zone here, here, and eventually here as well. Of course, maybe not like so harsh movement to the lower zones here, but of course we would touch at least this 100 EMA and 200 EMA as well. But if we see any kind of like bounce from here, so this kind of bounce, then the retest would be successful and a potential movement to even higher zones would be like a pretty high chance of like accuracy to happen. So with that being said, we have pretty multiple setups here. The price of Linkcoin is way too overbought as of now. So right now, currently at this state, we are not going to open any position, but we will be monitoring for any potential weakness to kick in as we are again in overbought zones. So with that being said, as always, trade smart, trade safe, and see you in the next session.